The following program is the first Tuesday of the month, Waupaca City Council meeting.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our regular scheduled City Council meeting. Today is March 7th, 2023, and it's 6 o'clock. So we'll call this meeting to order, and we'll begin, as always, with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you could all please rise and face the American flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And before we get going with our festivities tonight, we have some paperwork we need to do here ahead of time. So we're going to ask Barb, first of all, to read the clerk's open meeting statement for us.
This meeting and all meetings of the Common Council are open to the public. Proper notice has been posted and given to the media in accordance with Wisconsin state statutes, so the citizens may be aware of the time, place, and agenda of this meeting.
Thanks, Barb. And you want to also take roll, please?
Mayor Smith,
Here.
Colin Dykstra,
Here.
Lori Chestnut,
Here.
Paul Hagan,
Here.
Henry Velliker,
Here.
Scott Perchatsky,
Here.
Dave Peterson,
Here.
Paul Mayo,
Here.
Dimitri Martin,
Here.
Eric Olson.
Here.
9 present, we have a quorum.
Thanks, Barb. And you want to introduce yourself, and we'll go around the room and introduce our department heads?
Barb Nowak, interim city clerk.
Aaron Jensen, City Administrator.
Eric Bailey, Library Director.
Jared Reichu, Community and Economic Development.
Stephanie Reif, Finance Director.
Justin Behrens, Director of Public Works.
Laura Colbert, Parks and Rec Director.
Brian Hosell, Chief of Police.
And Josh is in the back room running our cameras and our radio, so that's Josh Warner with our IT. Well, thank you for those introductions. Let's go to the agendas. We have the consent agenda. This is an agenda where we take a motion on all of these items that are under this consent agenda and vote on that, those at one time, unless you see anything on that consent agenda that you would like to pull out and put on the regular agenda. If not, we'd be looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda as printed.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Martin, second by Chestnut, that we approve the consent agenda as printed. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. All right, and Barb tells me that we have no additions or deletions or changes to the regular agenda, so again, we just need to formally approve the regular agenda as printed.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion by Peterson, second by Olson, that we approve the regular agenda as printed. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carried. Announcements and correspondence. This is for public input. If we have anybody in the audience or staff or council that would like to speak to the council on a non-agenda item, please step up to the podium, give your name and address for the record, limit your time to 3 minutes or less. Henry, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't know if anyone read this month's issue of the Municipality Magazine. This is a magazine of the League of Municipalities, monthly magazine, and a couple of our own employees are quoted in our public works, so it was a really interesting quotes from some of our employees. I'm interested, did they just volunteer on their own to be interviewed, or was there a platform that they were given?
So a writer from the municipality reached out to a bunch of municipalities and just said, hey, we're seeking some input. So we had a couple guys that wanted to do it, so we did.
It's awesome. It's good. It gets our name out there. So it's good.
Absolutely. Good PR. Thanks, Henry. Colin, go ahead.
I was asked by WAHA, I'm of course a member of it, and our representative for WAHA, to remind everybody that this weekend is the PWB, well, we're hosting the PWB State Tournament at the Expo Center here in town. The Pee-wees will play their first game 8 a.m. on Saturday morning. There's going to be 8 teams total, so 7 teams from around the state are coming here to Waupaca for the weekend to compete in hockey. If you're looking for something to do and you want to cheer on our Pee-wees, come down and check it out. First game's at 8, and then depending on how they do, there'll be other games throughout the weekend.
But Colin, what's
Thank
the
you.
age for the Pee-wees? Sorry.
I always have to calculate it. 8, 10, 12 and under, huh?
Yeah.
12 and under.
All right. Well, thanks. Sounds like fun. All right. Anybody else? All right, let's move on then to new business and what the majority of the people in this room are here for tonight. This is a presentation from the Chain Exploration Center. And Aaron Jensen, our city administrator, is going to set this up for us.
Thank you, Mayor Smith, and thank you all for coming. This is exciting for us at council meeting. So a couple months ago, Mr. Felt, who's in the crowd with their teacher at the Chain Exploration Center, asked if I would sit in just to observe some of the presentations that had to do with municipal business and another specific topic, which I'll let him explain. And I sat through a number of presentations. The kids did an absolutely fantastic job. And as I was sitting there listening, I thought, man, this would be a great way to get students involved in an eye on city government. We put you in the beginning of the agenda, so you still like it when you leave. But we're excited to hear you guys over the next 45 minutes to an hour. And with that, Devin, I'll hand it over to you, and you can take the mic and kind of introduce the first group. The only other thing is, council members, you do have a number of handouts. They should be in order of the presentations. So if you can't see it on the screen, you can follow along on your handouts.
Hello, City Council. As Mr. Jensen said, my name is Devin Felt.
And I'm Ty Natsky. We are both the advisors for the 7th and 8th grade students at the Chain Exploration Center. So for our second quarter, we framed our social studies work by thinking about migration. So we started with studying migration and the patterns throughout history. And we looked at modern causes of migration. So we looked at stories from political unrest in Cuba in the 90s, of fear of genocide in German Nazi-controlled Germany, and Syria as recent as 2015. So one major cause of migration, at least within the United States, is the threat of climate change. So with rising sea levels, with more flooding, with stronger storms, with droughts leading to wildfires, and energy and water shortages, people are moving. So we put towards the students the problem of how can we make Waupaca ready for migrants from within the United States to find a new place to live. This central Wisconsin is a great place that you will hear the students talk about, and all of the perks that we have. We don't have many wildfires, nor do we have sea levels nearby that will rise. So we looked at 7 of the 8 biggest problems that a community face due to an increase of migration. So each group tackled one of those problems. So you will hear about access to healthcare, access to education, access to the city itself. You will hear about access to housing, to education. No, we did that one. You're going to hear a couple other problems, too, that I don't have memorized at the moment. So without further ado, we're going to have the access to education group coming to come up and present.
So I just want to make sure that everybody understands that we are on radio and we are also on TV. So if you could speak as close to the microphone as you can, pull it down, whatever you need to do. But we want to make sure that the people who are sitting at home also get to see this too. Yeah. Way to make me nervous. Got to figure it out.
Hi, my name's Katie, and these are my group mates, Olivia, Leo, and Bennett. Imagine, if you will, climate changes across the world, destroying houses, cities, and all around America. Hurricanes, forest fires, floods, and more. With With the earth warming up, these disasters will only get worse and more common. Studies have found that Wisconsin is the safest place to protect yourself, your families, and from climate change. So when people start migrating into Waupaca, we need to be ready. We want to create ideas in case more students move to a Waupaca school district. Because, as we said, the school district needs to be prepared. Our main idea is to take second or new school supplies and donate them to students in need. We believe that all students should be able to have their own school supplies. That is the reason why we are suggesting a school supplies drive in Waupaca, where people can donate new or secondhand school supplies drive. We want to have this plan to work, and we want to get the dates and times. We want to have a program and find a place where we could donate their school supplies without having a one certain day event. Now that you know our plan, we want to dig into more important details, like where are we going to have the program? We are hoping to have it in the lobby and concession stand area at the rec center. This rent to pay is $20 an hour. The lobby concessions area includes a small kitchen with a popcorn machine and a decent-sized room for tables and seating. This space would be big enough to have games and activities for people to play and eat snacks while they play. For our program, we want to attract people to come, so we had a couple ideas for people if they want to donate. We thought having fun games and activities would help and be really fun. Activities like coloring or a school supplies or a school poster contest would be nice. We could also give away glow sticks and small toys or accessories. Snacks would be great, especially since we said in the slide before the rec has a popcorn machine. Also, we could give away fruit like apples and bananas, which would fit our theme of our drive. Madison has many, many schools. However, they have about 28 kids per class, and we want to keep the soul of Waupaca, but we still have enough room for new students. This is why we're coming up with ideas that we can make enough room for more students to have the small-time vibe that Waupaca has, and not turn out like Madison schools. Besides, our school supplies drive has a couple ideas for the next 20 years. We think that we could have more room for students, either extend the schools or add on to the schools. We have to get more classes and multi-rooms. We could also build schools. However, this is the least affordable option. And finally, we could use existing buildings and turn them into schools, which would be more affordable than making new buildings from scratch. But as we know right now, there isn't any buildings in Waupaca that we could use. Thank you.
All right. If any council members have any questions after each group, you can feel free to ask, and if not, we can move on to the next group.
Awesome.
All right.
Let's
Thanks,
move on.
guys. Good job.
Yeah.
Working on some technical. Sorry. Where's your group?
Like the town.
All right, so welcome to our three-part plan in the integration to the city of Waupaca. With this, I will be covering the plan to welcome newcomers to Waupaca. First, the events, then the brochure, which will be broken up into two parts. And finally, we will move on to the future part of our plan, or getting people of Waupaca to welcome the newcomers. Okay. Organizing an event in the park shelter. So we're going to hold a festival that will be located in the South Park Upper Shelter. It could also function as a get-to-know-me. It is our hope that this will help the people entering the Waupaca community warm up to and meet the people of Waupaca. while also getting to know the businesses and their owners. We are hoping that the people moving to Waupaca will spread the word, bringing in more people looking for a friendly place to stay. Finally, we plan to hold this event once every 2 years. By doing this every 2 years, it is our hope that this will not put a strain on the local economy. It is going to roughly cost about $4,080. Now, you may be asking, how's a festival going to cost $4,080? Well, we plan on using attractions from like the county fair and is it Apple Fest? Strawberry Fest. Wrong way. Here we go. After the events of the festival, we will be giving out some brochures on the city of Waupaca. This will consist of an info packet on Waupaca. This brochure will have basic information that can help the people coming to Waupaca navigate and find the business locations, job opportunities, and a link that guides the reader to a Waupaca event schedule that is located on a social media platform that is most likely to be on the Waupaca Facebook page. My colleagues Tay and Danny, who are not here today, have a example of this portfolio in the back. These brochures will hold the information mentioned. Hold on. This won't scroll down. Let's scroll this down. There we go. So, moving on to local businesses. We're focusing on local businesses in the brochures, and it is our hope that this will help the businesses while preserving the soul of Waupaca. Next, we'll start the distribution part of the plan. We will distribute the brochures by using the Waupaca mail service. Moving on to where we will distribute the brochures around town. My colleagues and I have decided to drop the brochures off at hotspots in the city of Waupaca. These hotspots may be at supermarkets like Pick and Save, Piggly Wiggly, or Fleet Farm. Another spot might be at smaller stores like local attractions and businesses, or finally, at chains like Quick Trip or fast food restaurants like Burger King. By doing that, it is our hope that the new people integrating into Waupaca will be visiting these locations and finding the brochures spread out around the city of Waupaca. Now, we will move on to the final part of our plan. The question we are asking is, how do we get the people of Waupaca to welcome the newcomers to Waupaca? My teammates and I have decided that this won't be much of a problem, for it has always been the soul of Waupaca and its people to welcome in newcomers with open arms. Thank you. This was our three-part plan on the integration to the city of Waupaca. Any questions?
Thank you, guys.
Hello, I'm Elena, and this is my team, Kale, Steph, and Megs. Our group is Natural Resources. We already know that Waupaca has a good water system. There's not much wrong with it, but we decided to still focus on water and how we could make more of it for the new people who are coming into Waupaca. We want to make Waupaca the ideal place for refugees to move. And natural resources are a very important factor to that, as water can affect your health and well-being. We want to provide water for people to drink and use to be happy and healthy while in Waupaca. And we think that making Waupaca a place like this could be very beneficial. So our idea is to create a larger supply in Waupaca using wells. We will start off by building one well, and then if the plan goes well, we can make more. This can create fresh water by taking water out of the ground using a well system. And we will put them in more popular areas such as possibly parks And that can also be a place to host events, which can help with introducing people to Waupaca as they are new. The expenses. As mentioned before, we plan to build a public well for people to drink out of and use. The price on average to dig a well costs $25 to $65 per foot, or $3,750 to $15,300 on average for a complete system with everything. The only problem with this is that we don't want to poison people, because that would be bad. So we're going to add an acid neutralizing filter, which on average costs $2,494. There are multiple ways we could try to fundraise this project, and I think we're going to try. The risks and worries of this. The risks would be maintaining it. We want to make sure it's properly maintained so the water cannot get dangerous contaminants in it. The pumps need to be replaced every 10 years or so, which could add up even more expenses. And if we don't keep up with this process, harmful contaminants such as lead and arsenic can get into the water. So the rewards of this would be healthier water overall. If well maintained, it's proven to be healthier and safer. This will also provide more water in all for all of the people who are now moving to Waupaca. Wells are also safe in bad weather. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Any questions?
Oh, you have a question here from Colin.
I heard you were saying you were going to raise money for these wells by doing a fundraiser. Could you tell me why you maybe avoided thinking about raising taxes instead?
I'm a student, so I'm not responsible for taxes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, Colin.
Hello, my name is Brody, and here is my partner Nick. We have found that the health in Waupaca needs to be better. So we have been working on how can we provide physical and mental health to the citizens of Waupaca. We have thought long and hard about how we can prevent mental and physical hospital visits. One of our best ideas was a walking club. We believe that the best way to help mental and physical health is not to improve the hospitals, but to keep people from being in the hospitals in the first place. The more we are going to help the people, the more we can stop people from having to be in the hospitals. This will solve the amount of people in the hospitals. This prevents suicides and other mental health effects by giving the people other things to think about. An idea that we had is we could put a question of the day on the trail. This will let people think about a big topic and have them think of other things. Meeting new people and making friends is important. According to Everyday Health, they say not only is spending time with friends fun, but it also yields a multitude of long-term physical and emotional health benefits. Also, Kelly Martin, MD, once said, "As a medical doctor, I wish I could prescribe friendship for everyone." According to an article written by Mayo Clinic, regular exercise may ease depression and anxiety by releasing feel-good endorphins and other natural brain chemicals that can enhance your sense of well-being. Now, you may be wondering, How much will this cost? Well, this really depends on what signs you would like to get. If you want, you can get signs from Amazon for $30. Or you can get a road sign for about $500 to $600. We would be planning to have about a total of 7 signs. The trails we'll be using are the trails around the Swan Park and Brainerd's Bridge area. So we will not need to make new trails. This will put the cost down largely. We have a multitude of parks and natural spots in Waupaca, including a state park. It will liven up the trail and get people to find lots of different paths. This project is not huge like some of the other ones that you will and have heard about tonight. It is not going to affect too many people, which will keep it small. But some people will be coming, and this will be a good thing. So getting new people will be a large part of welcoming the new citizens. There are people coming from lots of different places, like all the way down in Cuba. Thank you.
I think it's really cool that you took what we already have and put it into your project with our River Ridge Trail that we have. And this is to speak for the River Ridge Trail too. We usually have we have people that work on, volunteers that work on our trails at times too. So look for that, you guys. You can help in that area too.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Oh, I'm sorry, Paul.
I just wanted to say sometimes in simplicity you have excellent ideas. I think that's a very good, an excellent proposal.
Thank you.
Sorry, Paul.
Hi, my name is Kyler, and this is Bray. We are trying to solve the problem of public transportation for climate refugees when they move to the city of Waupaca. Many people live in places where climate change is making hurricanes worse and even wildfires. Waupaca does not have any of these problems. The city of Waupaca is a great place to move for these conditions. Our goal is to help encourage people to move here by creating and helping current public transportation in Waupaca. There will be 3 trolley lines with 1 trolley on each line, green, blue, and red. The circles are the trolley stops. The Star by Main Street will be the main terminal for all the trolley lines. The main hub will be a building rather than just a small stop. For the cost of the trolley bus, our normal electric trolley bus mainly cost around $500,000, and we will have 3 of them. Expanding the roads to fit the trolley bus will cost an extra $500,000. The lines for the trolley will cost about $3,000 to build, all 3 of them. Building each individual trolley shelter will cost about $5,000 per shelter. The main trolley terminal will cost about $500,000 to build as well. All workers who will drive and maintain the trolley buses will not receive a lot because their job does not take very much to do. We were thinking a couple $1,000 a year for these workers. They will get a yearly $35,000 because they're still working for us and deserve something for their hard work. This salary is similar to the salary of a bus driver because both jobs are similar. The total estimated cost of the entire project will be about $5.5 million. How will the trolley bus help? Having a trolley bus in Waupaca will help with tourism and getting people around. When the trolley existed here in the 1900s, it encouraged people to come here on vacation and take the trolley to the lakes. Our goal is to do something similar. Having a trolley will encourage people to come here in the summer and ride the trolley. Our trolley stop at King will encourage people to come from King to shop at Main Street and people from Waupaca to shop at King. Having the trolley bus will encourage people who live downtown to ride the trolley bus to school and work, helping the roads become less crowded as more people move here. The trolley bus will also help the environment more than people driving cars because the trolley bus is electric. We will expand Park Street to help with traffic, and expanding Park Street will also help people get to the hospital. This will help with traffic in neighborhoods by moving Highway E onto more busy and wider roads. It will cost around $200,000 to widen Park Street. Rerouting Highway E will help make streets less congested as well as making neighborhoods less busy. Currently, Highway E passes through State, Lake, and Berlin streets. Rerouting the highway to other wider and currently busy streets will make these smaller streets in downtown less busy. The streets we are planning to reroute the highway to are wider. When we widen Park Street, it will result in improved access to the hospital, as well as less traffic on the new Highway E. Our idea will stop the trouble of public transportation with refugees coming to the city of Waupaca. We are hoping that many people will join us on our push to help public transportation. Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you. Jarrett, we got a replacement for you when you're ready to retire.
Whenever you're ready, you can have the seat. It's all yours.
Thank you.
Good job, guys. Mayor, I think we had a replacement for Justin previously, too.
Well, yeah, that was a given.
Justin, wasn't there tracks under Main Street? When we did the Main Street over, there were already tracks that had been used.
Wait, sorry, I couldn't hear you.
She's done. Thank you, though.
Hello, I'm Anna and my partners are Noelle and Clea. Our project is on housing. To help make Waupaca a climate change migration city, we will need more housing to fit all the climate change refugees. Waupaca is in a good location to escape the dangers of climate change. It is away from floods and hurricanes, not in the way of forest fires, and near enough to fresh water so that there are no droughts. New housing in Waupaca will encourage people to move to Waupaca. To get the most places for people to live in Waupaca while maintaining the soul of the town, the best solution is to build apartments. Through research of the city, we concluded that the best place to build apartment buildings is between Godfrey Drive and Royalton Street. This place has an area of 49.3 acres and has plenty of room for multiple apartments. We also need space for parking. These apartments will require building materials and workers to make. According to Fixer.com, the average cost to build a 16-unit apartment is between $3.6 and $22 million. These buildings help provide places for people to live after leaving from climate change disasters. There are many steps in changing commercial zones to residential. You first have to choose the right property, zoning laws have to allow it, then you have to get the money for the building. Next, you have to see if additional roads need to be built. And finally, you have to construct the building. To build apartments, you need workers. Through research, we found Strongwood, a custom construction company in Waupaca. This means it will build apartments to the need of the buyer and it is nearby. They have easy to access contact information so they will be easy to contact and talk to. There are some potential problems with adding apartments to Waupaca. One of them is not enough apartments for everyone. If too many people show up to Waupaca, there may not be enough housing for everyone. People could also get upset that they can't bring pets or are getting upset that pets are allowed in the apartments. This problem can be solved by letting one apartment allow pets and the others not. Another big problem is the funding of these apartments. They can't be constructed without enough money or supplies. A solution to this problem would be holding fundraisers to raise money for the apartments. Another problem is some people might not be able to afford the apartments. All these problems have solutions, and there are also many benefits to building apartments. Some of the benefits to building apartments are houses for more people, a friendlier city, a place to meet new people, a way to earn more money, and much more. Madison is one of the many cities that recently built several new apartments. Many new people moved to Madison after the construction of these apartments. If these buildings were constructed in Waupaca, that would be the hope for here too. The average cost for rent in a 2-bedroom apartment is around $700. Each apartment will fit around 64 people. If more apartments are needed, more can be constructed. Here's the final plan of the space. More apartments can be constructed in the open space if needed. This project will help with making Waupaca a climate change migration city.
Thank you. Nice. Jarrett, again, ditto.
If I would have known you guys were just bringing these guys in to replace me, I wouldn't have come.
There you go. We should invite her to one of our development review teams and see if she really has enough interest for that, right? Thank you, girls.
Good evening. My name is Maggie, and this is Megan, Riverlyn, and Odie. We're doing a project to prepare Waupaca for incoming people. Climate change refugees. People who wanted to get away from wildfires, hurricanes, and other region-specific natural disasters. People who wanted to be part of a good community and have good opportunities. Our group was tasked with waste management and decided to focus on compost. Why? Compost can reduce methane emissions in landfills significantly, can help decontaminate soil in order to reforest areas, restore wetlands, and revitalize habitats, all cost-effectively. Compost is somewhat of a natural fertilizer and lessens the demand for chemical fertilizers. It also contributes to carbon sequestration and stores the carbon, assisting in keeping it from overwhelming the atmosphere. In Waupaca's current composting program, you can bring yard waste, which is leaves, grass, etc., to the facility free of charge. Food waste, however, is not supported in the city of Waupaca at this time. Additionally, compost bins are $55, as stated in this newsletter from 2021. We want to promote composting and expand the composting program that we do have to accept food waste. We would like to educate people about composting by sending out flyers, putting information on the Recycling and Composting Center's website, and potentially doing things like radio and newspaper ads. Considering that the composting bins cost $55 and there are roughly 2,922 households in Waupaca, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, the projected cost of the compost bins alone would be $160,710. This does not include the cost of the compost being picked up from each household. However, we also have to take apartment complexes and such into account, so we expect that cost to be lower. A way we could fund this is setting up a GoFundMe page or something similar to raise money, then use our revenue to pay for more bins. Furthermore, depending on the amount of compost that generally accumulates in the bins, we would like to have weekly or bi-weekly pickup available. Finished compost could go to farmers or residents in need of good quality soil. We could sell it to these people in order to offset the cost of the program. We have a contact that works in a composting facility in the city of Stevens Point that accepts food waste. Though it could be costly, compost might be able to be outsourced to there if the capacity of that facility permits. A city that does composting pickup just like trash or recycling is Boulder, Colorado. Some potential problems are that people might not know what can go in the bins, might not participate, and that we might not find a good home for the finished compost. But rest assured that through education and community involvement, we can contribute to a greener world. Thank you.
Is that it? Yeah? Well, I want to thank you for taking the time to come tonight and make that presentation to us. Actually, you had some great ideas, and we've been taking notes, quite honestly. And I want to thank the parents for coming tonight, too, and the teachers. We are here to learn, and we're here to help in any way that we can. So thank you. You certainly are... if you want to, you can stay and watch the rest of the city council meeting, but if you decide to leave, please leave and try and get upstairs before you do much talking so that we can continue our meeting. All right? Thank you.
You, Devin.
He's a cool kid. Yeah.
Oh, they might have.
Yeah. What a great way to engage young people, you know?
Yeah, that's probably.
Mayor?
Henry?
It'd be really interesting to know if this somehow plants a seed in those young people to be involved in local government, you know, pursue a career somewhere, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just never know.
Yeah.
They just plug in this a couple times, see it work. That's kind of the future, I think. You know?
They obviously did their research, you know? I mean, maybe we should have this discussion while they were still in here, you know? That's pretty cool.
There were some gem ideas in
Yeah, I liked it. Absolutely. What's up?
Is there time for public commentary at all after that? I was going to jump in, but
On this, on what they just did?
on what the students did.
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Mayor Smith. My number one goal is to embarrass the heck out of my son, who's 13.
Well, you're already there.
Is his face always red?
Yeah, right. It is. No, and I thank you, Mr. Velker. I just wanted to say that there is piles of data that we're going to have climate refugees coming up our way. So I'm Dr. Justin Sipiorsky. I live on 522 West Fulton Street. Sir. Thank you, Alder Peterson, for representing me. And yeah, I'm as a taxpayer, I'm actually worried about folks of considerable means coming to places like this because I'm a state employee. I work at the University of Wisconsin Stevens Point in the biology department, and I'm worried about the potential rise in the tax rolls and whether or not I can stay in my house. So I mean, that's a really important point that the students brought up. I have lunch every week with a former pointer who was the League of Municipalities chair, John Small, Marathon City, a few years back. We talk about this stuff a lot, how we're going to deal with all this sort of stuff. So I think the climate change refugee thing should be a serious, in a rather important. And John Small was in Blue Jeans Nations, by the way, Dimitri, and I think he's reached out to you a couple of times. But I think the climate change refugee thing is a really serious, point to bring up for the next, probably not 15 years, but more like 20 or 30 years, for small places like Waupaca throughout the state. So I think that's really important to bring up. I also hope that you do maintain good relations with our townships to the north, to the north of Waupaca. That's where our groundwater comes from. I'm an ichthyologist. I study fish, so I know the groundwater table well, and I sample fishes from throughout our county, and I hope that we can work out issues as they come up in terms of what potential contaminants are gonna come our way from up north. That's the way the groundwater flows to our south. And I have to say that my son already has the trolley route worked out. He's got the whole thing from King to Waupaca. How many tourists would hop on this trolley, right? It's a 4-mile route. You could have a trolley every 15 minutes. We had one in the 30s. I think you guys should really seriously consider a couple electric trolleys that maybe 2, 3, 4 come through on a 15-minute route. All those people from the lakes coming downtown, that would be awesome. Thank you very much for your time. I very much appreciate your service. Thank you all. And my father-in-law is Dennis Riley, who is also part owner of the Central Waters Brewery. Aren't you also? Yes, all right. That's Hugo's grandpa.
Boy, you dropping names everywhere.
Yeah, I know you guys. I know
We
you
got an
guys.
open seat over here.
I've thought about it. I know that the ranks are tough to fill.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, yeah, thank you guys.
Have a great night. Thank you. All right, everybody, we can move on. The agenda is kind of short, but the meeting is kind of long, so we'll move ahead here. Next up is our license report number 1614. This is a Class A intoxicating liquor license and a Class A fermented malt beverage license for Amir Investments Incorporated at IMART, which is at 314 East Badger Street. That's the old Holiday Station, right? And they just have a new agent, is that? A new owner?
New owner, yep.
Yeah, okay, a new owner of the property. So this is just a transfer from one owner to the next. We just need approval of that.
Move to approve license report 1614.
Second.
Motion by Hagan, second by Chestnut, that we approve license report number 1614. Discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. License report 1615, this is the operator's license. You can find those on page 32. Again, we just need a motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Chestnut, second by Martin, that we approve license report 1615. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carried. All right, what we've all been waiting for, under issues, projects, discussions, Laura is going to give us an update on the Lakeman Field. So, Laura?
Thank you, Mayor. All right, so if you look on page 33, I have my brief memo that outlines where we're currently at with the Lakeman Field. We did get our master plan from Rettler, which is on the next subsequent 10 pages. And page 44, if you want to jump ahead to page 44, outlines the various prices for the master plan, which totals very close to $2 million. And after doing our Swan Park project, we know that this is probably something that we cannot reach at this point. So the stakeholder group, which is comprised of high school baseball, Lakeman baseball, parents, the baseball board, Josh Peterson, it's a conglomeration of everybody who's really invested in this Lakeman Field. They agreed that right now the smart thing to do would go through with the phase 1 plan, which includes those things that really, really need to get done now, such as the light poles and lights, the infield remodel, and then an updated sound system. And the total price for that will probably be around $425,000 to $450,000. We do have in our 2024 Parks and Rec capital budget $350,000 set aside for the lights in the infield, with 50% of that coming from private donations. So if you look on the memo on page 33, we took that total cost of $425,000 or $450,000 and subtracted that $175,000 the city's going to contribute through GEO bonds. And so we really need to raise between $250,000 to $275,000 for the project. We are in the process of working with Liz Kinnear on developing the flyer and the packet for fundraising, and it is almost to completion, and it's beautiful. She's done a great job. It is very similar to what we did for Swan Park. And so once that's complete, then we will start distributing that to baseball boards and Lakeman Group and anybody else who might be interested in, and then having some of those more one-on-one meetings with potential higher donors if they're interested. There are beautiful renderings on page 34 through 43 of the master plan. And if you want, I can go through those, or if you just want to go through those at your leisure, or if you have any questions on them, feel free
Laura,
to ask.
why don't you point out what you guys are, what the plan is in the future, in this short time future that includes that, what, 450,000?
So what that includes?
Yeah, what does that include in here?
Yeah,
And what page it's on?
Well, so this plan that you see here is the entire master plan, and we're not going to do all of that. We're going to stick with the lights, and the lights you see on the field are the lights. That's going to be the positioning of the new lights. We're decreasing actually from 8 poles to 6 poles because the illuminations are much better now than they used to be. And then the infield will be updated. However, on the master plan, you see this beautiful, it's called a halo, where it says Waupaca baseball. We are not going to put that in at this point because that right now costs upwards of $30,000. And for just having it be more of an aesthetic appeal as opposed to utilizing some sort of other important mechanism, we'll not put that in at this time. And then a sound system, which you can't really see, but that'll be included as well.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Laura. And you said you're close to getting this brochure ready. What's the anticipation of when I mean, you'll keep fundraising till you get the money, but
So
what is your goal?
we're really hoping that at the latest to break ground in the fall of 2024. I mean, I think it'd be good to do it if it's just the poles in the infield, to do it during the off season if we can fit it in so that they're not scrambling to move all of these baseball games outside of town. But if, depending on what we raise and what we're able to do, we'll have to adjust.
And the city share of those funds are in the 2024 budget?
That's correct.
All right. So if you, excellent, thank you, Laura.
You're welcome.
I mean, this is a long time coming, quite honestly. It's good to see the master plan of what it would cost to update it. And of course, that's a master plan, that is a work in progress and so on. But, the Lakemen are, a great venue for Waupaca, and they've done us well. Dave Peterson is a former manager and player of the team, and he knows as well as anybody. They've been awesome for Waupaca, and we'd like to continue that. And this field is in need of major upgrades. It probably is pretty much unchanged for at least the last 20 years, if not more. So it's time, for sure. Henry?
I'm guessing our grant writer has been pulled in.
He's been in every meeting, yep.
Okay. Seems like an awesome opportunity for some money.
And he thinks because this is in 2024, there's an opportunity to get a DNR grant similar to the one that we got for Swan Park, the Swan Park project.
Yeah. So again, if you're interested in donating, obviously, contact Laura. People that are listening, council members, staff. Dave, you want to say something?
Kind of a question or two, one I brought up at Park and Rec. Most of you probably haven't looked at this close enough to know. I see we're cutting down to 6 poles, you said?
Yes.
This looks like 4 of the poles are almost going to be in the exact same spot, which is good, I would think. And then the 2 outfield poles would be the different ones. So that should be good and pretty easy to take care of. I don't know if it's any difference. The other was they're cutting out or proposing to cut out some down the first baseline where the old shed is or garage there. And then there's a section and there's a old tennis court, basketball court there. And they were going to possibly, and maybe it's or either way, move the playing field out towards the street more, which to me is going to take away what is a very popular seating area. I mean, it's seating or bring their own lawn chairs or whatever it is. And I bet you we have probably almost as many people sit and stand in that area as would be in the, I'll call it the third base bleacher, the uncovered section of bleachers. Not counting all the people that sit around the concession stand, but there's probably at least as many people that sit down that right field line on any given game day. I hate to see them lose their spot. It's a pretty popular place, and where are you going to put them anyway? Then you'd be standing 3 or 4 people back deeper in the. So it's just something to consider in their plan. That's all.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Laura, that is not part of this original.
It's not part of the first phase. No. No.
Okay. So we have time to discuss that, Dave. And it's. I mean, for those of us that watch baseball or whatever, all we watch Major League Baseball. All fields are a little bit different, and they all have their little quirks, and that's one that we have at Lakeman Field, and I can see why Dave would not like to see that changed. Yep.
So it looks like our lovely WPA building's gone, huh?
No.
Where is it? Is it?
It's going to stay there for the time being, and I think in the master plan it stays.
Yeah,
Does it really?
It would be a remodel
storage?
and be for storage.
That's cool. That's good.
Again, another
Phase,
different.
different phase, yeah.
Catch the foul ball off the roof, is that worth 75 points or something?
I think a point Laura didn't bring up or forgot to mention, it was brought up. What we're going to do apparently is start inside out. So we're doing the field and the lights. Then anything that comes later, we're not going to have to go back and tear up more field or tear up what you just did. So they thought that plan through that way. I think that's important to know.
Nice,
Also.
yeah. All right, any other, Colin, go ahead.
It's, I don't know if there's an answer to this, but I noticed that the bottom line item is the 850 square foot restroom / concessions.
Mhm.
And Aaron, you saw that it was so expensive, or we saw it was so expensive to do that at Swan Park. Why are those so expensive? And is this including, like, do we have plumbing there already? And,
We do.
And so
Mhm.
I don't know if there's an answer to it, but it just.
Are we on city sewer there? Because those bathrooms don't work real well.
Yeah,
But,
we are.
so, we are on city sewer there, huh?
Yeah.
It just
I
seems
know.
terribly expensive.
It's he estimated based on square footage and general cost of concession stands. So,
Okay.
you know, it very well could come in lower or equal to or even higher once the time comes.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
This is also going to be a two-story, or part of it will be two-story too, you can see from the picture there. So there would be a little bit more cost there
Right.
too, yeah.
Good question, Colin. I don't know.
Yeah.
It does seem some of these smaller buildings that we've recently seen estimates on seem like mind-blowingly high.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have a great answer for that.
Okay, thanks.
Is there any, I don't think the construction lines up, is there any opportunity between our two projects to somehow work in some work? You know, I don't know, grading, that type of stuff that maybe the Public Works facility is gonna be staged at some, you know, is there any way? I mean, is there any way to couple the work together? I didn't explain that very well.
I think he knows
We're
what
starting our project, the Public
he
Works
wants to say
project,
no.
next spring.
Right.
So you're gonna be moving dirt
This spring.
this spring?
Right.
So you're doing,
2 months.
okay. Okay.
What would they, I mean, unless they, I'm not speaking for you, but I'm just thinking out loud. I mean, if there's something we can do on the roads, you know, but besides the field,
Or throw in a new sewer line, because you gotta run sewer probably to the building, maybe we could use some unit pricing from that. I don't know, just a thought. But you have money.
Well, both sites are already fairly flat, Henry. And right now, what's there at the parking lot is that old tennis court. That's going to somewhat get ripped up here shortly when we extend our water main. So we're water main up Harding Street, which is replacing an old line, and then water line down Michigan Street, which is a brand new line. It's going to loop that area. So that's going to kind of get half prepped at that time, because once you rip up the old stuff, you got to put back gravel. So I don't know. I mean, to answer your question, I don't think there's much you can do now to really save you dollars in the future.
Okay, thanks.
go ahead, Lori.
So all that's being said now, and for those people who are watching, can you tell them what's going to happen this summer with Lakeman Field?
Nothing's going to happen this summer
That's
with
what
Lakeman
I'm-
Field.
I'm-
Yep.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So-
So,
and that's-
this is our fundraising year.
Right. Yeah, but I just so
They
they
gotta
realize
win-
that.
They gotta win another grand championship.
Yeah,
That's
right.
what it is.
But just so that everybody kind of knows, it's,
Yeah.
it's not, so they're kind of.
Right. And somebody mentioned about donating now. We are ready to collect donations on Friends of Waupaca Parks page. If you go to the donate button and hit the down arrow, you can find Lakeman Field. So it's already live and ready to go. Mm-hmm.
Lots of fundraisers coming up.
What great projects though.
Yeah.
That we
I
have
know.
going on.
Yeah, it's
mean,
great for a fundraiser because it's a community
awesome.
project, so.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Laura, thank you very much for the update. Keep us informed. Paul, go ahead.
My only comment was, let's hope that this project doesn't suffer from the same price increases that our public works building had.
Yeah.
Just a comment.
Sounds like it looks like it already did. Yeah, but good point. Dave, go ahead.
Just a final point, it's important to point out, it's called Lakeman Field and the Lakeman use it, but our games are probably a fifth of the total number of games that are played out there. It's a lot of youth goes on. They gotta be big enough to run the big bases. They can't run the little league bases, but, you know, Babe Ruth and Junior Legion.
Yeah.
So it's not just Lakeman, so people do understand that as well.
3 Babe Ruth teams,
Babe Ruth, yeah, they're very good,
Legion
yeah.
team, and occasionally the high school team bus over there and play.
They don't, high school does, do they have?
They do not have lights, so this
Don't
is
play
the
double
only
headers.
lit full-size baseball field.
Baseball field.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, well, thanks, Laura and everybody for all the discussion on that, it was great. Communications and recommendations of the mayor, just a couple of things. Don't forget, well, we have another meeting in March, but the first meeting in April, of course, is on the Wednesday after elections. Okay, and then the second meeting in April is the reorganization meeting. So we'll hopefully have a new council member at that time, and also that night is going to be when the library, police department, and Parks and Rec present their annual reports to that, at that same meeting. And are we gonna, is the audit gonna be ready then, or are we looking at the first week in May?
So we're still on schedule. It's hard to say yet. On schedule for them to be here in person at the end of March. And I talked to Jay last Thursday, and he said we'd know more about the exact timeline of the report after that.
All right, well, that's great. Let's get it done sooner than later, obviously. And then, Aaron, this morning, Aaron and I were on Lakes, 92.7 Lakes, and we were talking about the flowers that we have down on Main Street. And again, we're talking about donations, but Aaron, do you want to just touch on that real quick?
Yeah, and I'll kind of give some kudos to Jared and Justin, I believe, and other staff members that have been meeting with the downtown business owners and the Chamber of Commerce and talking about all the amenities and things that have happened in the downtown over the last couple of years, and talking about how do we sustain those things. The flowers have been fantastic. They have been there's been so many compliments over the last couple of years on them. But they're expensive, and we did budget $20,000 in this city's budget for those flowers. But we are also looking for some matching funds, and right now there's a fundraiser out in collaboration with the Chamber of Commerce to help pay for some of those. There are different sponsorship levels where there could be some recognition for that. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there and let everyone know that's an opportunity. And if there are questions and interest in how to be involved in that, reach out to us at City Hall. We'll point you in the right direction.
Thanks. And Justin, you want to, I know it's early stages, but can you just talk about the flags?
Sure. So the streetlights are downtown Main Street and around City Hall have banner poles and also flag holders. So we plan to alternate between banners and flags throughout the downtown area, so Main Street and around City Hall. We're trying to get those ordered, rounded up, some proofs for the banners right now.
Great. And for those of you that didn't have a chance to look at city planning, Jarrett, you want to just touch on a couple of projects we have going on right now?
Yeah, of course. So at the City Plan Commission, we did have 2 apartment complex site plans come through. Both were approved. The first one is for the redevelopment of the old St. Mary's site on Division Street. So that proposal consisted of a more modern downtown-style apartment complex of 30 units with garages on the main level, and then also just open space parking behind the building. The building layout is a little bit different than how the church is laid out now. The building will be pushed further towards Division Street to kind of give it that more of a downtown feel, and then parking will be located or screened behind it. So you really won't see the parking. The second development is collaboration with the Waupaca Foundry. They are actually using strong wood development out of one of the presentations we just saw to build a 2-building apartment complex, 48 units each. And that'll be right next to Plant 2. If council members, there was a certified survey map that had come forward for that, as well as a rezone. So it is in that location, right by Plant 2, across or to the east of that gas station. That's on that corner. Is that Mobile? Tower Mobile. So that's a great project. They estimated timeline of being completed with one building by the end of this year, they hope. And then the second building and all the site stuff would be done by next year, end of next year. So 2 great projects that we see coming down the pipeline. I know we're waiting on a couple items from both for building permits and things like that, raise permits, and then a development agreement with one of them. So still some more information coming forward, something that the DA is something that, of course, the council will see. So still some work to do, but we're getting there.
Yeah, thanks, Jared. And again, you might be thinking about the River North project and our agreement with HDG, Hoffman Development Corporation. We're actually going to meet with them this Thursday, so we'll be able to get you an update at our next council meeting on that, whatever that might be. Scott?
Regarding the St. Mary's project, I know we had some time constraints on being able to, with the TIF spending expenditures on that area. Is all this going to fall into that timeline okay, or not? Or do we need a development agreement to be hustled along, I guess is my question.
Yeah, so good question. The time constraint that Scott's referring to is the expenditure period.
Yeah.
Comes due in June of this year for TIF 10. So if there is a development agreement, there has to be a resolution entered into and approved by council for that before that. And the developers are well aware of that. It's been communicated many times between 6 months ago and now.
And I don't know, it might be a little premature, but with that DA, I know we were discussing the current developer is trying to get funding and secure everything through the banks and, of course, feels that pressure. So we were discussing with him the possibility of him taking on a little more risk and possibly working to start the site prep and raise before that DA is in effect. So we're not quite sure the direction that we're going to have to go on that, but it's a great project, so I think it's definitely something we want to work with the developer on and get put up. So,
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, don't forget, when we adjourn this meeting, we do have a committee of the whole meeting. Department heads, except for Barb and Aaron, you're allowed to leave when we close out this meeting. So, if there's nothing else, we'll take a motion to
Move to adjourn.
Motion by Hagan.
Second.
Second by Veliker, that we adjourn until our next regular council meeting on Tuesday, March 21st, 2023, subject to call. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Against, say no. Motion carried. We're adjourned at 7:08 PM. Have a great night, everybody.